I died choking on my own blood, the metallic tang flooding my mouth as the courtroom gavel slammed down like a guillotine. My parents' eyes cold, triumphant, locked onto mine from the witness stand, their whispers of family first echoing in my skull like a curse. And in that final, gasping breath, as the judge declared me the villain who'd torn our perfect little dynasty apart, I realized this wasn't justice. It was the end of everything I'd ever trusted. But death isn't the blackout they promise in movies. It's a rewind, sharp and merciless, yanking you back to the exact second before the knife twists. I woke up gasping in my old apartment, the one with the leaky faucet and the view of the Seattle skyline that always made me feel like I could conquer the world. My hands, younger, unscarred, clutched the bedsheets, and the date on my phone screamed October 15th, 2023. 2 years before the trial. 2 years before my sister stole my husband, my parents buried the truth, and they all conspired to bury me. The shock hit like vertigo. I stumbled to the bathroom mirror, staring at the face I'd last seen twisted in agony on a gurney, 28. Wide-eyed, unbroken.
Ariana Hale.
Pre-betrayal edition. My heart hammered as fragments of my old life crashed in, the wedding vows I'd exchanged with Mark under cherry blossoms in Golden Gate Park. The way my sister Lila's laugh used to light up family barbecues in our sprawling Bellevue backyard. And the secret, the one they'd all sworn to keep, that would unravel it all. But this time, I wouldn't be the fool playing by their rules. This time, I'd rewrite the ending, even if it meant burning every bridge I'd ever crossed. Seattle's autumn rain drummed against the window like impatient fingers, mirroring the storm brewing in my chest. I had 48 hours before the innocent dinner where Lila would drop the bomb about her and Mark. In my first life, I'd walked into that trap blind, sipping Chardonnay while she confessed with crocodile tears, my parents nodding along like it was just a family hiccup. Blood is thicker, Dad had said, his venture capital voice smooth as silk. Mom had squeezed my hand, her real estate mogul manicure digging in just enough to bruise. Forgive and forget, or you're the problem. I'd tried, God. I'd tried, hosting therapy sessions, faking smiles at holidays. But when I finally snapped, refusing to sign over my share of the family trust to make Lila whole, they didn't just cut me off. They sued me for defamation, painting me as the unstable gold digger who'd fabricated the whole affair to sabotage the family business. The trial had been a circus. Front-page headlines in the Seattle Times. Heiress accuses sister of adultery in bitter feud. Evidence? Doctored emails. Paid-off witnesses. My own therapy notes twisted into proof of my delusions. Lila, the golden child, testified with that porcelain fragility, her tech startup glow making her the victim. Mark slunk in as the remorseful cheater, but it was my parents who drove the dagger home, leaking my childhood diaries, claiming I'd always been jealous and vindictive. The jury bought it. I lost everything, the house, the savings, the last shred of dignity. And in the parking lot after the verdict, as reporters swarmed, a random carjacking ended it all. One bullet to the chest.
No witnesses.
Case closed as tragedy. But accidents don't happen to Hales. Not when the family's private investigator owed Dad a favor.
Now.
Reborn. I knew the truth. Lila hadn't just slept with Mark. She'd orchestrated it, whispering doubts into his ear during their innocent work trips to Silicon Valley. The secret buried deepest? Our family fortune wasn't clean. Dad's VC firm had funneled dirty money from offshore accounts, tech patents stolen from immigrant coders, bribes to regulators. Lila knew, because she'd helped cover it up, using her startup as a laundering front. I'd stumbled on the files 2 weeks before the affair broke, in a forgotten USB drive from Mom's office. In my first life, I'd confronted them privately, begging for a way out. They promised reform if I stayed silent. Then they repaid me with ruin. I wouldn't beg this time. I'd expose them, piece by calculated piece, starting with the one thing they couldn't fake: blood. My phone buzzed. Mark, texting about our weekend hike in the Cascades.
Sweet.
Oblivious Mark. In the old timeline, he'd been the first domino, crumbling under Lila's seduction and Dad's job offers. This time, I'd fortify him. Or break him early. Controversial? Hell yes. But forgiveness was a luxury for the living. I was on borrowed time, dressing in my pre-tragedy armor, fitted jeans, a cashmere sweater that screamed, "Trust Fund Casual." I headed to the family estate in Bellevue. The drive over Lake Washington was a blur of evergreens and overpriced yachts, the radio droning about some crypto scandal that felt quaint compared to what I knew. Pulling into the circular driveway, the mansion loomed like a glass and steel fortress, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking manicured lawns, a testament to hale ambition. Mom's Tesla sat polished beside Dad's Range Rover. Lila's Audi was absent. Good. She'd arrive fashionably late. As always. The door swung open before I knocked.
Mom. Evelyn Hale.
52 but Botox to 39. Enveloped me in Chanel No. 5 and a hug that felt like quicksand. Ariana. Darling, you're early.
Come in.
Your father's on a call. Her smile was a masterpiece, warm, but with edges sharp enough to draw blood.
Dad. Richard Hale.
Emerged from his study, phone in hand, his silver temples gleaming under the recessed lights. Sweetheart, he boomed, pulling me into a bear hug that smelled of scotch and success. Heard about that promotion at the gallery. Proud of you. Lies. All of it. In the rewind, this was the calm before the storm, the weekend where Dad would accidentally mention Lila's stress at her startup, planting seeds for my sympathy. I played along, sinking into the leather sectional with a glass of Pinot Noir, the fire crackling like suppressed laughter. We chatted about surface things, the Mariners' playoff hopes, Mom's latest open house flop in Capitol Hill. But my eyes scanned for cracks, the locked drawer in Dad's desk, the faint hum of the safe behind the wine cellar. Then Lila breezed in, all wind-chimed energy and Lululemon athleisure, her blonde waves bouncing like she owned the universe. Ari. Traffic was a nightmare. She air-kissed my cheeks, her touch lingering just a second too long, possessive, already staking claim. Dinner was roasted salmon and heirloom tomatoes, plated like a magazine spread, the conversation flowing like oiled gears. Until it didn't. So, Lila sighed, pushing her fork around. Mark and I. We've been spending time together. Working late on this investor pitch. Her eyes flicked to me, wide and innocent. In the first life, I'd choked on my wine here, the room spinning as she spilled, the hotel rooms in San Francisco, the texts I'd later find deleted. Parents leaping to her defense. It's just a mistake. Ariana. She's family. This time, I didn't flinch. I set my glass down slowly, the clink echoing. Working late.
Right.
Like that trip to Napa last month. Lila's fork froze. Mom's smile faltered. Dad cleared his throat. I'd rewritten the script, dropping a detail from the future. A breadcrumb from the affair's early days.
Lila recovered fast.
Laughing it off. God, you're paranoid. It's business. But the seed was planted. As we cleared plates, I caught Dad's glance at Mom. Wary. Calculating. Good. Let them squirm. That night, back in my apartment, I fired up my laptop, fingers flying over keys. Step 1. Fortify my evidence. I'd printed the USB files in the old life, but they'd vanished in the lawsuit purge.
Now.
I emailed copies to a burner account, screenshots of wire transfers to shell companies, emails with phrases like, clean the ledger, signed RH. It wasn't enough for the feds yet, but it was my ace. Step 2, Mark. He deserved the truth.
But not all of it, not yet.
I texted him. Hike tomorrow?
Need to talk.
His reply, always,
Babe.
Everything okay? I stared at the screen, heart twisting. In the end, he'd chosen them, testified that I'd overreacted, that the affair was mutual confusion. But maybe, just maybe, this timeline could spare him. The Cascades Trail was a muddy vein through ancient firs, the air crisp with pine and regret. Mark hiked ahead, his broad shoulders cutting the path, that easy grin flashing back at me. We'd met at a gallery opening 3 years ago, him, the rising architect, me, the curator with an eye for hidden depths. What's eating you? He asked at the summit, unzipping his jacket. Lake Washington glittering below like shattered glass. I sat on a boulder.
Knees to chest.
Lila. And my family. The words tumbled out, not the full future. But enough. Suspicions from overheard calls. Dad's opportunities dangling like bait. Mark's face darkened. She's always been intense. But your sister? Come on. Ari. Doubt flickered. But he squeezed my hand. We'll watch it. Together. It was a start. But trust is fragile. And mine was shattered glass. That week.
I dove diper.
Posing as a freelance journalist on LinkedIn to befriend Lila's startup interns. Chats revealed cracks, unpaid overtime, creative accounting for expenses. One girl, a wide-eyed coder from Bangalore, whispered about ghost projects that funneled cash nowhere. I saved every screenshot, building my dossier like a house of cards, tall, but ready to topple. Thanksgiving loomed. The Hale tradition of excess, turkey from heirloom birds, pie from Mom's secret recipe, and undercurrents thick as gravy. I arrived armored, smiling, but with a USB necklace tucked under my blouse, the files encrypted inside. Lila was there, glowing in a cashmere turtleneck, Mark absent on a work trip I'd insisted he skip. Conversation skirted edges, Dad's latest deal, a AI firm with ethical sourcing that reeked of the old scams. Then, over pumpkin pie, I struck. Hey, Lila. Saw your pitch deck online. Impressive. That investor from Cayman, old family friend of Dad's. Her spoon clattered. Mom's eyes narrowed. Dad laughed it off. Networking? Sweetheart. But the room chilled. Later, as snow dusted the lawn, Lila cornered me by the gazebo. What are you playing at? Ari? Jealous, because I'm finally succeeding. I met her gaze. The blue eyes so like mine but colder. Success built on what? Stolen code? Or just stolen lives? She paled, bingo. The secret she'd buried. Not just the money, but how she'd poached talent from underpaid devs, threatening visas if they talked. In the first life, I'd ignored the rumors to keep peace.
Now.
I leaned in. I know about the USB. The one with the transfers. Her laugh was brittle. You're delusional. Like always. But she backed away. And I saw the fear, the schemer unmasked. The backlash came swift. Monday. Dad called. Family meeting. My office. Noon. I walked into Hale Ventures like a gladiator, tailored blazer. Heels clicking on marble. He sat behind his desk. A king on a throne of polished oak. Mom flanking like a queen. Lila hovered by the window, arms crossed. Ariana, Dad started. Voice velvet over steel. This paranoia, it's hurting us. Lila's startup is vital. We need unity. Mom chimed in, eyes misty. Forgive her any mistakes.
Blood.
Darling. The script. Word for word. In the old life.
Idenudda.
Tears streaming. This time, I slid a folder across the desk, printed emails. Redacted but damning. Unity? Like laundering through her projects? Or the affair you're all ignoring? Silence. Thick as fog. Dad's face purpled. Where did you? Saved it. Before you could delete. Lila lunged for the papers, but I yanked them back. Touch me, and it goes to the SEC. All of it. Mom gasped, hand to throat. You destroy us? For spite. Dad leaned forward, eyes blazing. This is blackmail. We'll sue, defamation, extortion. You'll lose everything. The threat that broke me before.
Now. It fueled me. Try it.
But this time, I have witnesses. And recordings. I tapped my phone, voice memos from the interns, time-stamped. Controversial? Absolutely. Blackmail skirted the law, but so did their empire. As I stormed out, Lila's whisper followed. You were always the weak one. Weak?
No.
Reborn. The war had begun. Winter gripped Seattle like a vice, sleet lashing the city as my plans crystallized. I quit the gallery, too many Hale connections, too easy for sabotage, and pivoted to freelance curation, gigs that kept me liquid but low profile. Mark noticed the shift, his touches lingering with worry. Ari, you're scaring me. What's really going on? Over takeout pho in my apartment. I gave him half-truths, family pressure, Lila's overreach. He pulled me close, murmuring promises. But doubt gnawed. Would he crack again? Meanwhile, the dossier grew. I hacked together a secure Dropbox, feeding it intel from anonymous sources, a former Hale accountant emailing from Mexico, detailing the offshore webs, screenshots from Lila's hacked cloud, guilt from a jilted intern's tip. Each piece was a grenade, but I held the pins. Publicly, I played nice, liking Lila's LinkedIn posts, sending Mom flowers for her birthday. Let them think I'd folded. But privately, I stirred the pot. An anonymous tip to ProPublica, Tech Dynasty's dark money. No names, just enough to spark a reporter's interest. Then, a whisper to Mark's best friend, a PI with scruples. Check Lila's Napa trips. Evidence trickled back, hotel receipts, blurred photos of tangled sheets. When I showed Mark, his face crumpled. That bitch. We fought, him defending, maybe it's fake, but he stayed, rage hardening his resolve. Our sex that night was fierce, reclaiming, but laced with the poison of what-ifs. Christmas Eve at the estate was a minefield. Twinkling lights draped the evergreens. Bing Crosby crooning from hidden speakers. But tension crackled like static. Dad pulled Mark aside for a man talk, no doubt dangling carrots. Lila sidled up during eggnog, her smile venomous. Heard you're freelancing. Tough break. I clinked her glass.
Nah.
Freedom's underrated. The bomb dropped post-dinner. In the study.
Dad.
Scotch in hand. Ariana. We've decided. Family intervention. Your delusions are escalating. We'll cover therapy. But sign this NDA. Keep things quiet. The paper, a gag order. Tying my silence to trust fund scraps. Mom teared up theatrically. For us, darling. I laughed cold, unhinged. Therapy? For seeing the truth. I pulled my phone, hitting play. The accountant's voice filled the room. Hale Ventures, Shells and Belize. Kickbacks from Apex AI.
Emilio.
Lila's face drained of color. Dad lunged. But Mark, my wild card, blocked him. What the hell? Richard. Chaos erupted.
Shouts.
Accusations. Mom wailing about betrayal. Lila hissing. You stole my life. I stood amid the storm. Voice steady.
No. Cease.
You stole mine. The affair was the cherry on top of your empire of lies. They circled. A pack closing in. Dad's voice dropped lethal. Leave now. Ariana. Or, we end this, your career. Your marriage. Everything. Mark tensed beside me. Hand on my arm. Choice point. Fold or fight. I chose fire. End it?
Try.
But the files hit the wires at midnight. We fled into the snow. Mark's tires spinning on the drive. In the car. He gripped the wheel white-knuckled.
Ari.
Is this true? The money. I nodded. The weight crashing. All of it. And worse. He exhaled. Eyes on the road. Then we're out. Together. New Year's brought escalation. ProPublica's piece dropped anonymous. But pointed. Seattle tech titans and shadow funds. No direct links. But whispers spread. Investors pulled from Lila's startup. Dad's board called emergency meetings. Retaliation was swift. My freelance clients ghosted, courtesy of Mom's network calls. Then the lawsuit notice, served at my door by a process server with a smirk, defamation against the Hales. Unsubstantiated claims harming family reputation. The irony burned. This was the old timeline's echo, but accelerated. I countersued. My lawyer, a bulldog from the public defender's office. Paid from scraped savings, filing for discovery. Subpoenas flew. Bank records. Emails. Lila cracked first, calling at 2 a.m., voice slurred. You win. Okay? Just stop. I didn't mean for the car thing. The car. My death. Confirmation. Chilling. Meant or not. It's done. I hung up, but sleep evaded. Was revenge hollowing me? Mark thought so. Our fights sharpening, him urging settlement. Me pushing scorched earth. This isn't you.
Ari.
It's poison. He was right. But poison was what they'd fed me. Spring thawed the city, but not the feud. Court dates loomed, headlines buzzing. Hale sisters' bitter war rocks tech scene. Allies emerged, the Bangalore coder. testifying to visa threats, the accountant, video linked from hiding. But the Hales fought dirty, leaked nudes from my college days, doctored. But viral, whispers to Mark's firm about unstable partners. He held, but cracks showed, late nights at the office. Cologne that wasn't his. The climax brewed in a deposition room. Fluorescent hum underscoring the tension. Lila across the table. Makeup flawless. Lawyer Shark beside her.
Ms.
Hale, my attorney pressed. Explain these emails to Apex AI. Accelerate transfer.
H.
Approves. She blinked. Doll-like. Typo. Project funding. But her eyes darted. To Dad in the gallery. Stone-faced. I watched. Heart pounding. Then the twist. My lawyer slid over a photo, grainy.
From the PI.
Lila and Dad. Not in Napa. But a Cayman Bank vault. 2022. And this? Co-signing shells. Lila's facade shattered. It was for the family. Ariana knew. She found the drive. Betrayal's knife twisted, she'd thrown me under. But worse. Confirmed the conspiracy. The room exploded. Objections. Recesses. Outside. Dad cornered me in the hall. Breath hot. You think this ends us? We built this. You'll beg. I met his gaze. The man who'd taught me chess now checkmated.
No. Dad.
You end. The trial was a spectacle, Liv tweeted. Cable news fodder. Witnesses piled on. Defrauded coders. Jilted investors. Lila's startup folded mid-proceedings. Her testimony a weepy mess blaming stress for the affair. Mark testified clean, loyal. Finally, detailing the seduction attempts. My parents' turn was brutal. Dad blustering about legacy, Mom crumbling into, I just wanted harmony. But the jury saw through. Verdict, guilty on fraud counts. Defamation dismissed. Fines gutted the empire. Indictments loomed. As gavel fell, cheers erupted not for me, but justice. Lila fled the courthouse in tears. Dad arrested in cuffs. Mom catatonic on the steps. I walked out free. Mark's arm around me. Seattle's sun breaking clouds. But victory tasted ash. The family I'd loved gone. In the old life, death had been mercy. This, a mirror, reflecting my choices. The leaks, the countersuit, the unyielding push. Controversial to the end. Had I become the monster? Months later, piecing a new life in Portland, gallery of my own, Mark designing eco-homes, we got the call. Lila, institutionalized after a breakdown, mumbling about second chances.
Mom.
Selling the estate, whispered apologies through a lawyer. Dad, rotting in white-collar hell, penning letters I burned unread. Happy?
No.
But alive. Reborn not just in body, but soul, scarred, sharper, unbreakable. And in quiet nights, staring at the stars over the Willamette, I wondered, if death rewound again, would I forgive or fight harder? The end? There are no ends in revenge. Only echoes.
No.
That wasn't the end. Rewinds don't come with neat bows. They loop, taunting you with what-ifs until you claw your way to closure. Portland's craft beer scene and indie bookstores were a bomb. But nightmares dragged me back, the courtroom's sterile chill. Dad's cuffs glinting like accusations. Mark noticed. His architect's eye for lines spotting the tension in my jaw. Therapy?
Ari.
For real this time. I nodded. But sessions unearthed more than trauma. rage,
Yes.
but also grief for the girl I'd been. The one who believed in hail exceptionalism. Our first anniversary post-trial fell in July. Fireworks bursting over the river like delayed celebrations. We rented a houseboat, drifting lazy days with IPAs and lobster rolls from food trucks. Mark proposed again, not the original ring, lost in the lawsuit shuffle, but a simple band etched with reset.
I said yes.
Tears mixing with spray. But doubt lingered. Was this love? Or survival's glue? Work grounded me. My gallery, fractured frames, specialized in street art from marginalized creators, echoes of the coders Dad had crushed. Opening night drew a crowd, tech refugees toasting with me, their stories fueling exhibits on digital shadows. Success whispered grants, features in Willamette Week, but so did threats. And signed letters arrived. Snitches get stitches. Lila's handwriting?
No.
But the paranoia stuck. Then, the call that shattered the peace. September. Leaves turning copper. My burner phone buzzed. Unknown number.
Ariana Hale?
This is Detective Ruiz. Portland, PD. We need to talk about your father. Heart slamming. I met him at a waterfront diner. Fog rolling off the water like smoke signals. Ruiz was compact, world-weary, badge glinting under fluorescent buzz. Richard Hale's dead. Apparent suicide in FCI Sheridan. Note said, "Tell Ariana I'm sorry. For everything." The words hollowed me.
Suicide?
The man who'd stared down SEC sharks, who'd built empires on bluffs. I scanned the report. Hanging. No note beyond that line. But Ruiz's eyes said more. Off the record, inmates heard him muttering about a deal, trading info on bigger fish for early release. Then,
Poof.
guards looked the other way. Assassination. Veiled. The Hale's old partners, tech oligarchs with deeper pockets, cleaning house. I nodded, numb. But inside, gears turned. Dad's death wasn't closure. It was ignition. Anything else? Ruiz slid a USB across the Formica. From his cell. Smuggled out. For you. Back home. Mark out on a site visit. I plugged it in. Files cascaded. Ledgers naming names, senators, CEOs. A VP in the White House with consulting fees. And deeper, a video, grainy from a hidden cam.
Dad.
Gaunt in orange, whispering to a shadowed figure. The girls. Protect them. Lila's clean now. But Ariana, she knows too much. The drive was bait. To test her.
Bait.
The USB I'd found, planted to gauge my loyalty. The affair? A distraction. Lila's role scripted to pull me off the scent. My stomach roiled. They'd never trusted me. I was the spare. The one who asked questions. Reborn knowledge twisted. In the first life, I died not just for refusing forgiveness, but because I'd glimpsed the abyss. Rage surged. Hot and clarifying. This wasn't over. The Empire's tentacles reached further. Cartels and code. Not coke. I copied the files, encrypting layers, then reached out, the ProPublica reporter. Now a contact, Ruiz. 4 off-books tips. My new war. Dismantle the network. Brick by digital brick. Controversial? Exposing power like this could paint me terrorist or martyr. Mark came home to find me pacing. Screen glow casting shadows. Another ghost? He pulled me down. But I resisted.
Dad's dead.
And it changes everything. The confession spilled. The video. The implications. His face hardened, not fear, but fire. We go public. All of it. For the first time. He wasn't hedging. We were in it. Symbiotic now. October brought storms, mirroring the brewing tempest. I leaked selectively a senator's name to The Intercept, timed with midterms. Headlines screamed, tech money in politics, Hale ties exposed. Lila surfaced then. A ghost in my inbox, emaciated selfie. Psych ward scrubs. Help me.
Cease.
They're coming for me too. Pity flickered, but memory stamped it out. Her testimony. Perjuring with ease. I blocked her, but sleep evaded. Dreams of her hollow eyes merging with Dad's noose. The pushback hit hard. Our houseboat vandalized, traitor keyed in red. Mark's firm lost a bid. Whispers of Hale curse. We moved to a high-rise downtown. Security cams blinking like wary eyes. Ruiz called, watch your back. Feds are circling, want you as asset. Asset. The word chafed. I'd be no one's pawn. November. Election night. We holed up with takeout tacos and CNN. Watching dominoes fall. My leaks toppled 2 reps. Probes launching into a dozen firms. Elation mixed with dread. Each win isolated us more. Mark proposed we leave. Vancouver. Fresh start. I hesitated. The reborn fire warring with exhaustion. One more push. That push, the gala. A black tie fundraiser for ethical tech, ironically hosted by a Hale ex-partner, Victor Lang. Silicon Vulture with a philanthropy smile. I crashed it. Gala gown masking the recorder in my clutch. Mingling champagne flutes and small talk. I cornered him by the ice sculpture. Victor. About those Sheridan suicides, Dad wasn't the first. Was he? His laugh boomed, but eyes iced.
Ariana Hale.
The prodigal thorn. Your father's mess, tragic, but self-inflicted. I pressed, voice low or silenced. Like the devs who vanished after Apex. A waiter bumped us, spill. Distraction, and when I looked up, Lang was gone. Security trailing. Midnight. As confetti fell. My phone lit. Anonymous text. Stop digging. Or Mark's next. Attached, a photo, him leaving his office. A shadow tailing. Panic clawed. I raced home, bursting in to find him safe. Sketching blueprints. We leave.
Now.
But leaving meant surrender.
Dawn.
Over coffee black as resolve. I plotted the endgame. A manifesto. Files bundled for WikiLeaks. Timed with a press conference. Mark nodded, but his eyes held fear for me.
For us.
This could kill us. Ari. It already did. Once. December snow blanketed the city, muting the chaos. We prepped in secret, safe deposit box for originals, burner laptops, tickets to Toronto as backup. Lila reached out again, through Mom's lawyer this time. She's clean. Rehab. Wants reconciliation. A trap. Or genuine. Mom's addendum. Your father's gone. Don't let hate take you too.
Hate.
Was that the fuel? Sessions had peeled it back. Not just betrayal, but abandonment. The child who'd posed for family photos. Invisible amid their ambition. Forgiveness tempted. A soft landing. But the reborn knew. Softness was how they'd won before. Christmas Eve. Alone in the high-rise, Mark visiting family in Spokane, I cracked. Dialing Lila's facility. Voice steady. One call. Her hello was fragile.
Stripped.
Ari?
God.
I'm sorry. The affair Dad made me. To break you.
Keep you quiet.
Tears choked her. I hated it. Hated him. The twist gutted. Not schemer supreme. But puppet. Dad's strings. Pulling her into adultery as psychological warfare. My voice cracked. Why? Power. He said you were weak, would fold.
I
Believed him. Sobs echoed. Forgive me? Please. Silence stretched. The old Ariana would beg yes. The reborn Wade. Mercy's risk. Revenge's cost. Maybe. After the truth, all out. New Year's. We launched. Presser in a rented hall. Cameras flashing like gunfire. I stood at the podium. Mark beside. Voice amplified. The Hale legacy is an innovation. It's exploitation. Here's the proof. Files dumped live, ledgers.
videos.
Names. Lang's face on screens. Implicated. The room erupted. Questions flying. Aftermath. Arrests rippled. Lang in cuffs by dawn. Probes global. Lila testified. Flipping for immunity. Her breakdown the human face. Mom? Faded to Florida.
Silent.
We didn't flee. Portland embraced us, gallery booming. Mark's firm ethical now. But scars lingered. Therapy marathons. Nights where Mark's snores anchored me from the void. 1 year on. Under cherry blossoms echoing our vows. I whispered to him, "Thank you for staying." He grinned. That easy one.
Second chance. Babe.
We earned it. Happy? Closer. The ending, not by kitsch. But rebirth true. This time. Echoes fade. But we walk on. Unbowed. Echoes don't fade, they evolve. Whispering temptations when you least expect. By spring 2025, Portland had woven us into its quirky tapestry, farmers' markets on Saturdays, microbrew trivia nights where Mark's history degree shone. Fractured frames thrived, walls alive with murals from exhale victims, turning pain into palette. Success felt earned, not inherited. But the past's shadows stretched long, especially when Lila's release date circled like a vulture. She'd cut a deal, house arrest for testimony. Her startup ashes scattered in SEC fines. Mom facilitated, weekly calls, progress reports laced with maternal guilt. She's changed. Ariana. Give her a chance. I demurred, but curiosity gnawed. The girl who'd stolen my husband, puppet or not, deserved a reckoning. Or redemption. Mark sensed the pull. Boundaries. Ari. We're not bait anymore. His practice boomed too, sustainable builds for refugee co-ops. Irony not lost. Our life. Date nights at food carts. Weekend kayaks on the Columbia. A tentative pregnancy test positive in April.
Joy.
Fragile as a positive line. Bloomed amid the thorns. But thorns pricked. Ruiz transferred to Portland, keeping an eye, lunches at his favorite taqueria yielding updates, Lang's trial. A circus of bought judges and buried evidence. Your leaks saved lives.
Hale.
But the big fish swim free. Frustration simmered. My manifesto had toppled pawns, not kings. Dad's network? A hydra. Heads regrowing in Dubai boardrooms.
May.
Lila's parole hearing loomed. Mom pressured. Testify for her. Character witness. The ask twisted. Stand for the sister who'd testified against me. Who'd wept on stands about my toxicity. Mark vetoed. Hell no. But nights. Staring at the ceiling fan's whirl. I wavered. Forgiveness as controversy. Heal the family. Or harden the scar. I went. The hearing room smelled of stale coffee and desperation. Fluorescent buzz underscoring the judge's drone. Lila in gray sweats. Hair limp. Eyes downcast. A far cry from the Lululemon siren. Her statement, mea culpa. Therapy jargon about codependency. Dad's shadow. I hurt Ariana most.
No excuses.
My turn. Podium cool under palms. She betrayed me, stole my marriage, my trust. But the real thief was our father. Lila. She's collateral. The judge nodded.
Parole grand-tête supervised.
6 months Bellevue check-ins. Lila's eyes met mine post-verdict. Gratitude.
Raw.
Thank you. We hugged, awkward. Bone thin, but a crack opened. Not trust, but possibility. Summer heat baked the city. Our bellies swelling with what Mark dubbed Baby Hale 2.0, minus the drama. Prenatal yoga. Ultrasounds revealing tiny kicks like Morse code promises. But drama found us. August. An envelope arrived, no stamp. Handwritten. Lang says hi. Inside. Ultrasound photo. Circled due date. Threat veiled. But clear. Mark raged. Installing alarms, I called Ruiz. Who grumbled. Feds have it. Stay frosty. Paranoia peaked. Grocery runs felt stalked. Shadows lengthening. Lila texted, cautious bridge. Heard about the baby. Congrats. Coffee? Neutral ground. Mark fumed. But I went Eugene. Halfway. A diner off I-5. She arrived early. Coffee black. Hands trembling.
Ari.
The threats. It's them, Dad's old crew.
Lang S. rotting.
But his partners. She spilled. Post-trial whispers. Veiled warnings to silence loose ends. I have names. More files from Mom's attic. Her eyes pleaded. Help me expose. For us.
Alliance?
The irony stung, sister schemer. Now ally. Controversial to trust. But the belly between us grounded. Legacy break. Send them. But one slip. Fall leaves crunched under tires as we drove to Mom's. Abandoned estate. For sale sign crooked. Lila with a key.
Ghosts heavy.
The attic. Dust motes dancing in flashlight beams. Boxes labeled RH Legacy. We unearthed it, hard drives. Ledgers yellowed. A ledger naming a Cayman trust for A&E heirs. Ariana and Evelyn? No, me and Lila. Slush fund for silence. But deeper a letter. Dad's scrawl. If you read this, girls, know I loved you fiercely, wrongly. The empire was for you. Forgive the cost. Tears pricked, monster humanized. Too late. Lila sobbed. He broke us all. We copied. Sealed. Sent to Ruiz. That night, back in Portland, Mark held me as contractions faked, Braxton Hicks. But fear real. No more digging. For the baby. I nodded. But fire smoldered. November rains lashed. Our son arriving in a blur of monitors and Mark's white-knuckled grip. Elias Hale after no one. After everything. Hospital rooms soft with beeps. Lila's flowers arriving. Lilies. White flag. Mom visited. Cooing over tiny fists. Her face lined deeper. Grandbabies heal. Awkward truce. But roots tentative. Winter solstice brought the hammer. Ruiz at her door. Rain slicked. Lang's partners 3 CEOs. Indicted. Your files sealed it. Elation. Short-lived. But one's talking. Says Hale Sr. Had a mole inside family. Eyes on Lila?
Me?
Mom fled to Europe. Health sabbatical. Doubt poisoned the idol. Elias's cries at 3 a.m. Mark's exhaustion. Cracks widened. Lila called. It's Mom. She knew everything. The carjacking? Her PI. Betrayal's echo. Deeper cut.
I confronted via video. Her vil backdrop.
Denial swift. Lies. Protect you girls always. But evidence mounted. Texts from the drive. Authorizing containment. The call ended in screams.
Alliance fracturing.
Lila. Cut her off. For Elias. Climax brewed in January 2026. Snowpocalypse blanketing the Northwest. Flights grounded. Lang's trial. Virtual. Demanded my testimony. Secure link from home. Elias nursing as I spoke. Details of threats. Files provenance. Cross-exam. Defense attorney sleazing. MS.
Hale.
Your history of delusions. Affair fabrications. Old wounds ripped. Then the hack, mid-feed. Screen freezing on a deep fake. Me. Ranting conspiracies. Elias's face morphed in. Chaos. Feed cut.
Herdvinestivsting hale hedes crux.
Mark fielded calls. Fury blazing. I rocked Elias. Rage volcanic. Lila drove through blizzards, Bellevue to Portland. Uninvited.
Door slem.
Snow shedding. I fixed it. Trace the deepfake to Mom's IP. Her sabbatical servers in Zurich.
Proof in hand. Log and logs.
The final twist, Mom. Not puppet master. But queen. Dad's equal. Architect of the carjacking to save the girls from scandal. Confrontation via burner. Her voice. Aristocratic chill. Ariana. Stop this madness. The families survived worse. I laughed. Bitter. Survived by killing? Silence. Then, for legacy. Yours too.
No remorse.
We leaked it, Mom's logs.
Calls.
By dawn. Interpol warrants. She vanished. Ghost in the machine. Aftermath. Quiet storm. Gallery shuttered briefly. Then reopened stronger. Exhibit on deepfakes. Truth's fragility. Mark and I renewed vows. Elias gurgling witness. Lila visited.
Anti-tentative.
Her own therapy a mirror to mine. The end? Cycles break. Not end. Reborn thrice, body. A soul. Family, I chose grace. Controversial? Forgiving the unforgivable. But in Elias's eyes, futures unscarred. It fit. Grace is an absolution, its armor, forged in fire and worn lightly. By summer 2026, Portland pulsed with renewal, our rooftop garden bursting tomatoes. Elias toddling amid herbs, his giggles chasing away ghosts. Mark's firm landed a green skyscraper bid.
Herdvines presin hale redemption ARG.
Ironic, but we leaned in, channeling the name to good. Scholarships for coder kids.
No estrins.
Mom's capture made global news. extradited from a Monaco yacht, fronting a stoic mugshot in Vogue tones. Trial in Seattle. Spectacle redux, power suits, whispered deals. Lila and I attended opening day, side by side in the gallery. Hands clasped sisters, scarred but stitched. Her testimony, measured,
Damning.
she chose empire over us. Mom's? Ice Queen denial. Protecting inheritance. My turn. No histrionics. Just facts, the USB bait. The PI shadows. The deep fake directive. Jurors nodded. Faces etched empathy. Verdict. Guilty. 20 years fraud. Conspiracy. Attempted murder veiled as oversight. As cuffs clicked, her eyes found mine, not hate, but hollow. You won. Darling. Did I? Post-trial. Therapy unpacked it. Victory's void. The girl who died choking on betrayal was gone. But echoes lingered in nightmares, gavel slams, blood-tang ghosts. Elias's hugs grounded, Mark's quiet strength anchored. We're enough, he'd say, tracing my stretch marks like constellations. Lila integrated slow, weekends at our place. Her Bellevue apartment a way station to normalcy. She launched a nonprofit, ethical AI for immigrants, penance in pixels. Dad's ghost won't haunt my code. We talked hours, the affair's genesis. Dad's grooming, Mom's complicity. Forgiveness flowed uneven, hers quick, mine measured. Controversial dinners, Elias smashing peas while we dissected scars. Laughter edging in. Fall brought harvest festivals. Corn mazes where Elias led with chubby determination. But ripples persisted, Lang's network crumbled. But one head, a shadowy VC. The ghost evaded. Whispers of retaliation.
Ruiz.
Now friend over beers, he's cornered. You're doing. Paranoia ebbed, but vigilance stayed. Cams. Codes. Community watches. Thanksgiving 2026. First family feast sans empire. Our table. Not the estate sprawl. Potluck with Mark's folks. Lila's tentative beau, a barista with tattoos and ethics. Turkey carved crooked. Story swapped. No hails. Just us. Elias's gamma, for Lila melted ice, her eyes welled.
Antillaise crown tentative.
Winter solstice. Full circle, cherry blossoms defied season in a greenhouse venue. Elias flower boy in overalls. Vows renewed. Guests a mosaic, coders, reporters, Ruiz toasting to seconds and thirds. Dance floor sway. Mark's whisper. No rewinds needed, but life twists. Spring 2027. Pregnancy 2. Girl. Ultrasound winking. Joy tempered, Lila's news. Engaged. Wedding small. Invite extended. Accepted. Her bridal shower. Games and giggles. But a gift box arrived, anonymous. Laced doily over flash drive. Inside, Mom's prism letters. Smuggled. To my girls, regret is a cage. Break free. Love.
Eh.
We burned them. Ashes to Willamette winds.
No chance.
Climax echoed soft. The ghost surfaced, arrested in a dawn raid. My leaks the lore. No trial needed, he flipped, spilling oceans. Headlines faded. Hale's saga ends, justice prevails. Our end? Open book. Elias starting preschool. Daughter kicking strong. Gallery expanding. Lila's org partnering. Mark and I. Porch swings at dusk. Wine loosening tongues. Worth the fight. Always. Reborn. I learned. Revenge carves, but grace builds. Controversial path. Suing kin. Leaking secrets. Choosing mercy amid malice, but American as apple pie. Flawed.
Fierce.
Forward. In this life.
No guillotines.
Just horizons. Vast and ours. The final hook. Death's rewind was gift. Not curse. I lived it full. Betrayed no more. Unbreakable.